Hey guys, Michael here with Conquest Overland, coming to you with a review and initial thoughts on the ICECO VL45ProS single zone portable fridge and freezer. So in complete transparency, ICECO did reach out to me and sent me this unit to do a review on it and kind of provide my feedback. As many of you guys know, for many years, I've actually been using the Dometic CFX 35 fridge, which is just a step smaller than this one. But I wanted to go ahead and put that one on the sideline and try the ICECO fridge out. And I've used it for about 3 or 4 trips now, like with actual use. And it's actually worked out pretty well for me. It goes into the exact same spot in the truck behind the passenger seat there on the bench, and I have the fridge connected directly to the battery in the truck, though at times I do run it on the portable power station, the Blue Eddy. So it really kind of depends on the situation, but overall it has worked out pretty well. So with this video, I just kind of want to dive into some of the details and specs to kind of give you guys a perspective on my personal thoughts, as well as some pros and cons and maybe a little bit of comparison with the Dometic fridge. So this particular unit comes in one color of like this matte black, almost kind of like a gloss finish, if you will, depending on their surface. It's very sound in construction. I don't run a protective cover on it as of yet, but so far it's held up pretty darn well. This particular model, as mentioned in the title, is the 45 liter. So it does hold about 68 soda cans in there, stacked very well. But with that, honestly, I've been able to have plenty of space, whether I'm doing weekend solo trips or if I have company joining me on a weekend trip. So for 3 to 4 days or so, or even less, I have plenty of space for all meals throughout the day, including drinks and different things like that. So it's nice to have that a little bit additional space as compared to the unit before, but overall it works out pretty darn well. So the dimensions on this particular fridge are going to be 28.1 inches in length, 15.7 inches in width, and 18.1 inches in height. This unit does come in a weight of 50.5 pounds, of which is a little bit heavier than I would have liked, but it is a bigger unit than the one I was using before. Portability is still pretty nice with it because of the robust handles. It provides you really solid grip on here with the construction that they put on it. One feature that I do like is when you are carrying it around camp or loading it or unloading it from the vehicle, there is a hard stop on the handle, so your fingers aren't going to get smashed on the side, which is kind of nice. I've used other units where that was not in the construction, and unfortunately your fingers do get jammed, so kind of a nice little touch in that regard. So this fridge and freezer is a single zone, so you can use it as one or the other. It does have a CCOP compressor with a cooling range of 0 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Showing on the website, it does have an average power consumption of roughly 60 watts, though that will fluctuate as the compressor is on and off as well. The compressor can function with ease up to about a 40-degree angle or tilt, so that's great for off-roading, you know, depending on the trails that you're going to be doing. This fridge can handle a lot of that abuse and being off camber and whatnot, so it's really nice to be able to have a fridge with construction of that in mind. And with that, the compressor itself also has 2 functions. It has a max and eco mode. Basically, the max is an ability to cool the fridge down with efficiency. So basically, if from an ambient room temp all the way down to the setting that you desire, the compressor will kick on and get that internal temperatures down quick enough. The eco mode is like a power savings option. So once you, I guess, would have that temperature set and sustained, you can flip it over to eco, and then that just helps prolong the life of wherever you're connecting it for its power source. So inside the fridge here, we do have a storage basket, which is really nice for loading or unloading whatever groceries that you do have. There is no divider in it, so you can actually just go ahead and take the whole thing out, load it up as you need, and then place it back in, or just use it for extra storage as you see fit for hosting all your items on your upcoming trips. There is a really nice LED light at either end, so that's nice to have a little bit of illumination when you're at camp in the dark, to see all the contents within the fridge as well. So the lining inside the fridge is a durable hardened steel, which is really great because for the use of on the trail, depending on what contents you're going to put on it, it also is great for better energy efficiency, having that lining be of that metal material versus like a plastic, so the cooling coils behind the unit itself can help retain that desired temperature. What's also nice is that they place the thermometer in the fridge here at about a middle height of the actual fridge itself, so that gives you a really nice average temperature overall versus having it at the very top, which could be one temperature, versus the very bottom, which could be different. So it's nice to have that average medium depending on what temperature you're going to be setting the fridge at. Also included at the very bottom is going to be a drain hole, and so if you ever have any spills or anything like that, you have the drain hole for immediate cleaning of that, or also if you're running it in freezer mode and as maybe ice builds up around the sides of the interior here, and when it melts you can easily just have that to release all the water out rather than kind of tilting the fridge itself and dumping it out. And then as well, there is a 2-inch thick wall for better insulation all the way around. So similar to kind of any cooler itself, a lot of the properties as far as retaining the temperature inside is going to be how well the perimeter of those units are. So again, for this one, having it at that 2-inch thickness is nice. You know, from the lid to the sides to the bottom, everything in there is going to be able to keep temperature as you want. I think one of my most favorite features on this fridge that I've never seen with any other is going to be the multi-designed lid. So you can not only open it directly from the front if you would like, you can also go ahead and put that back down, and then you can actually open it from the opposing side. So there's no need to switch hinges or actually set up the fridge in a particular way. You can open it from either angle that you see fit. Or if you want altogether, if you're in a situation where the lid doesn't balance on itself, you can actually just go ahead and take the whole lid off and then have immediate access to everything in there. So that only makes, you know, loading and unloading super easy. But if you're trying to grab something at the very bottom and you need both hands rather than having one for propping the lid open, you can now just take the whole thing off. So that's super nice. There's been, you know, numerous situations where I've been on the trail, and depending on where the fridge is tilted for how I've parked a truck, it's nice to be able to kind of go back and forth on opening that lid. Also on the lid itself is going to be this rubber gasket seal that surrounds the entire perimeter. That just helps again to keep all the contents nice and cool inside the fridge itself. So when you do close it, you do have that nice feel knowing that the fridge is going to be held and securely in place. So again, the exterior are going to have these really nice rugged handles here. They can also be removed if needed for extra storage space. So if you're putting it in a tight area where the handles may intrude on being able to store it in the back of a vehicle or something like that, you can actually go ahead and remove those and you maximize your space overall. So it's nice that these can be serviceable, as well as provide a really nice holding point when you're moving the fridge around. Also over here is going to be, on this side, our control panel, and this includes the main on-off button, the temperature reading and adjustment for both Fahrenheit and Celsius, and a battery monitor for 3 separate stages. And why that's actually really nice is because, again, depending on where you're going to be plugging the fridge into, whether it be directly to your vehicle battery or portable power station, you can set the threshold. So if the fridge detects that the voltage of the power that it's required to be keeping the unit turned on, the unit will be smart enough, based on the setting that you have for the battery monitor, to go ahead and turn itself off, saving you the ability to, you know, be able to start your car the next morning or have a little juice left in that portable power station. So it's really nice to have that feature built in at 3 different thresholds by itself. Also, in addition with that, you have one AC outlet for the input power, as well as on 2 opposing sides, 2 DC inputs for powering the fridge, which is nice to have them at both ends again. So depending on which orientation you want the fridge to be in your vehicle, you have the option and flexibility to do so. Also included are going to be 2 USB ports, which is really nice, so you can charge all your devices, whether it be your phone or tablet or anything. Do note the fridge does need to be plugged into that input power to give off power, but it's still nice if you need something to just top off a device while you're on the trail. You do have those ports to be able to do so. Now, as far as what comes in the box itself, laid out here, I do have everything showcasing that. And this includes your fridge itself, the AC/DC cables, 1 of each, the storage basket for inside the fridge there, spare parts including a handle, 4 corner guards, the drain plug, 2 screws, a screwdriver, and then also a 5-year warranty on the ICECO compressor and 1-year warranty for all the other parts. So for a great starter kit, as far as having everything that you need, I think it's really nice that they included all the spare parts as well. Very thorough manual, and then everything else that you may need to just ensure that your use and the life of it over the many years are going to be well taken care of. So really nice that ICECO included all that as compared to some other brands that I have purchased in the past. So as far as some pros for me on my end from using this unit for the past few trips, I really like how powerful it is as far as being able to cool the compressor down from an ambient room temperature to about 36 degrees or so for running it as a fridge. When I place it in that max mode while whether it's hooked up directly to the vehicle or if I plug it in at the outlet at home getting ready for a trip, the fridge itself cools down very, very quickly, probably within, I would say, half an hour or so, depending on the contents inside, how full it is, as well as the ambient temperature of which you're trying to cool the fridge down. So there's a lot of variables on that, so I don't try to showcase very exact statistics on it, but I really do like, at least from my initial review so far, that it is able to cool down as quickly as it does. I also like just the overall size of it. I believe ICECO makes this one as their smallest unit, being the 45 liter size. So the Dometic that I was using was 35. So again, you have a little bit more space, but that increased size is really just in the height. It's basically the same length and width, so it did add about 2 inches in height overall. But again, for me, depending on the trip, how long it is, how many people may be coming, this is probably a really good medium for 2 to 3 people, depending on all those variables. So it is nice to be able to have everything stored in there without the need of cutting a short trip to refill on groceries. I will also say that I do like the thoughtfulness as far as where all the input plugs are. So having those 2 included DC inputs on opposing sides of the fridge, it's really nice to be able to have your control panel on either facing direction based on where you're going to be plugging the fridge in. Others, they may only put it on one end and you kind of have to work around that. So it's really smart of ICECO to allow both options. And then with that, also where you can power it. Again, for me, for all the fridges, just for ease of use, I connect it directly to the truck. Again, you can easily power those with a portable power station such as Blue Eddy, Goal Zero, Jackery, all the other ones that are out there. So it's really nice to have all those different options available. I will say probably, again, my most favorite thing about the fridge, just because I haven't had any experience with any other brands before, is going to be that multi-designed lid. I love being able to open it from either side or just take it off completely, because I know when I'm getting ready to unload the fridge after a trip coming home on like a Sunday evening, it's really nice to just be able to take that whole lid off, grab that storage basket, head directly to the fridge at home, and go ahead and dump anything else that wasn't utilized over the weekend. So just makes that efficiency process unpacking that much easier, or vice versa when you're getting ready to head out on a trip and you're loading up the fridge. I will say, as far as maybe a couple cons overall, that again, it is a little bit heavier than the prior fridge that I was using. Again, the size difference in there, being a little bit bigger capacity. Hauling around a 50.5 pound fridge is not the easiest, and that's just the dry weight before you load anything else up. So it would be a little cumbersome trying to move it around camp if you have a need to do that fully loaded. So just kind of bear in mind that the weight is a bit significant in there. One other item that I think could have been maybe a little bit more improved again, comparing to the Dometic, as far as the only other fridge that I've had experience with, is going to be that rubber seal, that gasket on the lining of the lid itself. It just doesn't feel as robust or as thick compared to the Dometic. I know when closing that lid, you really have to kind of almost do a little hammer fist down to close the Dometic lid. So on this one, I noticed that the seal it's not as thick as it possibly could be, and I'd be curious over longer term use as it kind of gets some more trips incorporated with it, if there's any loss in cooling because of that gasket seal. So to be determined, but just kind of some initial thoughts on the appearance and just kind of overall touch and feel, comparing the two models together. But again, that's nitpicking overall. But with that, I mean, at the end of the day, it is just a fridge. I really like how competitive the price point is. You know, compared to like your Dometics, this is several $100s cheaper, even for a bigger model. So I really like that they're being able to stay competitive in the market while offering a really sound and robust product overall. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to kind of give you a quick review of the fridge, just my initial thoughts so far. I do plan on running this for a majority of the year while I sideline the Dometic, just to kind of get some more use in it. But overall, I hope this video kind of brought a little light to you, and then also just kind of gives you guys a little bit of background on the possibilities as far as maybe running a fridge for the first time, or maybe looking at a different brand overall. But with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video here. As always, I sincerely appreciate your support. And until next time, safe travels.